dealing with distracting relationships when it just seems to be taking so much time, so much energy. Thoughts keep passing through the head all day, and it requires a lot of thinking, distracting you from the tasks at hand, distracting you from your work, distracting you from your play. What to do? Welcome in, fam. Much love, Trav here. So I bet a lot of you can relate to this. I can relate to this. When you have certain relationship that it can be romantic, it can be very close, it can be more distant. The defining feature of these distracting relationships, though, is that they take a lot of mental energy, and you've got thoughts running through your head on and off a lot of the time, and it's distracting. It's distracting. So what can you do to fix this so it's not so distracting? Have some ideas for you here. And it helps to understand how the human brain works. So there's two keys here to understand. One is that humans are very social and we're wired for a lot of things. And one of those things is mating. And as a result, we're always going to be thinking about people. If you study our thoughts, most of our thoughts are about people. Especially for women, more so than men. Men tend to think about things a little bit more, but not that much more. We're still, look at any of your dreams. If you remember any of your dreams, there's a lot of people defined by lots of people. This is a generalization, but mostly true. So you're never going to be able to get away from that. And you're never going to be able to really quiet your mind so much that you don't think. You'll get better at it through meditation, but it's not really real or true that you can just black out, basically. You're always going to have thoughts running through your head. Now, the other thing to consider, and this is important for the answer here, is the Zeiger-Dink effect. Humans tend to fixate, we tend to think about, animals probably too, anything that's unresolved or ambiguous, anything that's solved, we don't think about anymore, right? So like 2 + 2 = 4, when's the last time you thought about that? That's not a repetitive thought that's coming through your head, right? And the reason why is because our energy needs to be dedicated towards things that loose ends, tie them up, unfinished tasks. We like things tidy. Therefore, if our goal is to make things less distracting and think about things less, we need to make things clearer. We need to make things less ambiguous. We need to make things more certain. We need to and there's a variety of ways to do that. It's called the Zeiger-Dink effect. One example of that is right at the end of a TV episode, things are getting good, and they stop the episode, like cliffhanger, chapter endings, or teasers. It's ambiguous. It makes you think like, oh, what's going to happen next, right? So the really distracting types of relationships tend to be the ones that are more ambiguous, and ambiguous can be the relationship is ambiguous, or what you're going to do is ambiguous, or what you're going to receive is ambiguous. And ways to solve this, to make it take less emotional energy, is to try to resolve it by making it clear. So there's some ways to do that. Certain things that you can do are make clearer boundaries and rules. I found this to be helpful. Like, an example would be like, say that you're seeing a person sometimes. It's pretty random when you're going to hang out. Sometimes they hit you. Say they, hit you up in the middle of the night or come visit you in the middle of the night. That's distracting. Sometimes that's distracting. It's very random, and it occupies more mental energy because you don't know what's going to happen. But on the other hand, if you had, for example, like, we hang out on Wednesday nights once a week. You don't think about it. You're not thinking about that. It's happening, right? It's not spontaneous, but it's more predictable and you're not thinking on the other nights or the other times, right? It can also be like you're getting over someone or you're getting into someone. You're trying to figure out what you're going to do, if it's a yes or a no. And it's a maybe, you want to get to a yes or a no if possible, if you want it to be less distracting. Like, with this person, are we going to do it or are we not going to do it? Let's figure that out. Let's make it a yes or a no. So sometimes that means putting yourself out there to get rejected and shot down, because the sooner that you're shot down or rejected, or you decide together that it's a no, the sooner you can move on. It can be resolved. That stuff can sting and can take over the brain a little bit, but a lot of that is because stages of loss include denial, which is ambiguous, like, no, it's not over, maybe, right? Other ways to resolve, certain rules and boundaries, it's good to have clarity on, like, just to make things a little bit more predictable. Examples being times of availability, or expectations of it's a lot of it is about managing time, and it's never going to be that simple. It's always going to require a lot of some energy, because people tend to be unpredictable as well in terms of their moods and stuff like that. But I hope you guys got an idea of how to resolve this stuff more so that, you're always going to have thoughts running through your head, especially people and projects you can do together, and relationships, not just between you, but between other people. And that's always going to require some mental energy, but it's more emotionally draining and distracting when there's lots of ambiguity and you don't know. So my advice is, if you're going through something like this, is to get as much clarity as you can. Write down, what do you want? Write down a set of rules. Write down decision for yourself. And if you can, communicate with the person in the distracting relationship and explain, like, this is taking a lot of energy. Let's get some clarity on what we're doing here, if possible. Institute some more predictability. It's nice to have some spontaneity, but a certain structure to relationships is nice. So hope you find that useful. If you want more advice and lessons, then make sure to check out my YouTube, and also recently released a book called I Wish I Had Told Me Sooner, which is full of stuff like this. And there's a link to that in the comments down below. Hope you find it useful. About to jet off now, get my Saturday going. I appreciate you. I look forward to talking with you soon. Peace out, fam. Much love. Take care.